Eastern on DAZN, highlighted by the main event, the 21-0 Edgar Berlanga going up against the 18-0 Padraig Mccrory. Justin Shackle, Gabe Rosado with you. And Gabe, the boxing public believes that Edgar Berlanga has a lot of questions to answer with his performance tonight. What do you need to see from the 26-year-old this evening?
Absolutely. You know, what we want to see from Berlanga is establish the jab. You know, don't just go out there, try to get the knockout. He got spoiled. He had 16 knockouts in a row, and that created bad habits. But he went the distance a few times. So right here, you know, he just has to go back to setting things up, combinations. Right there, just punches and bunches, you know.
And this perhaps comes at the most opportune time, Berlanga's return to the ring, because this week there's been a flood of speculation over the next move for Canelo Alvarez, an opponent yet to be determined for May 4th. Does it have to be impressive, or can Berlanga get by with just a win tonight?
You know, it has to be impressive, but I'm not sure, even if he has an impressive win, I'm not sure if he's quite ready for that Canelo fight yet. But we'll see. You know, I expect to see Berlanga showing much bigger improvements, and we'll just see by the performance. But at the same time, I would just like to see him developing.
You know, there's so much speculation, or really unknown thoughts about Berlanga's opponent, Padraig Mccrory. 18-0, yes, he is undefeated, but he's largely been untested. As you see him yesterday at the weigh-in, he's recognized by more than one sanctioning body. What makes Padraig Mccrory a legitimate threat to Berlanga tonight?
You know, well, Mccrory, he's a guy, he's undefeated. He has people from Ireland that came out to watch him fight. So he has that motivation, and he has that fire. He's the underdog, and he believes in himself. He's confident. He doesn't know what it is to lose, just like Berlanga. So he's going to come in here, and he's going to be a live dog.
And if he could get past Berlanga, perhaps a title shot awaits for him in the very near future. But we have a couple of other fights, title eliminators, and Eddie Hearn was talking about them this week. Potentially every fight on this undercard has a 50-50 sense to it, and each one of them could steal the show as we take a look at the fight card lineup, beginning with our fight on Before the Bell coming up in a few moments. Aaron Apante, Joseph Fernandez, two Floridians going at it at 140 pounds. Then, like we said, main card, 7 Eastern on DAZN. Yankel Rivera against Andy Dominguez, two undefeated flyweights going at it. And Antonio Vargas and Jonathan Rodriguez, a pair of Puerto Ricans in the WBA title eliminator at bantamweight. Shakram Giasov and the everlasting cobbler Cesar Cano go at it in a WBA welterweight eliminator. Andy Cruz, El Diamante, going at it with Brian Zamaripa in our co-feature, leading into the main event, Edgar Berlanga and Padraig Mccrory. You know, Andy Cruz, so much focus is on him this week as well, as he looks to go 2-3-0. I think he silenced a lot of critics with his boxing style, knocking out Giovanni Strafone on the Haney Prograis undercard in December. But he was talking about what you could expect from him tonight. Talked about a fusion of Cuban and Philly style. What might that look like?
Well, that's interesting. You know, the Cuban style is the box and counter, but he has Bozy, who's a Philadelphia trainer, great trainer. His son is Boots Ennis. So it's adding, I think it's adding a little bit more of that aggression. You see how he's walking his man down, punches and punches, hurting your man. So I think that's the combination, you know, just setting up counters, but at the same time be aggressive.
Letting the punches go there, boxing on the front foot. That is what we saw from Andy Cruz in his second fight there against Strafone. He has a tough Mexican competitor in Zamaripa coming at him tonight. Zamaripa, of course, we saw him in September with that split decision defeat to Angel Fierro. He got the bad taste out of his mouth with a victory in Mexico in December. So it is a real threat and a good co-feature, Cruz and Zamaripa. But Puerto Rico is going to be in the house tonight. We know that. Between Yankel Rivera, Jonathan Rodriguez, Antonio Vargas, and obviously Edgar Berlanga, it is going to be a Puerto Rican party here in Orlando. And next week, DAZN is going to touch down in Puerto Rico, where Amanda Serrano returns to her native country alongside Jake Paul.
The biggest boxing event to ever take place in Puerto Rico is a massive, historic main event. 12 3-minute rounds.
She's the queen of the island.
The real deal, Amanda Serrano.
There's no backing down.
He is looking to make a statement.
The problem child.
El Gallo de Dorado, Jake Paul.
Should be the biggest event in Puerto Rican boxing history, and it's going to be a night to remember.
Next Saturday on DAZN, Amanda Serrano and Nina Micah, and of course Jake Paul back.
Messi has his say. When you think you've seen it all in boxing,
Sabalenka being crowned champion, once again showing the world why he is the greatest.
left hook on the temple, unbelievable.
We start with a special showcase bout.
It's an absolute monster of a lightweight.
What a moment! A history-making goal! She wasn't going for goal, but she'll happily accept it.
It's gone all the way through, and look at this! Chewinga! Did you dare write Barcelona off?
The career of one of the all-time greats is all but over.
Nice comeback.
Uma oportunidade de dizer alguma coisa que eu acho que nunca disse.
Let's get this party started!
NFL Game Pass is now exclusively on DAZN.
Let's get this thing going.
Watch every game, plus the playoffs and Super Bowl.
To the end zone. What a play!
It's your all-access pass.
That is how you fight a southpaw. Well on his way to coming back.
Katie Taylor does it again. Look at the emotion.
The following programme is recommended for those 16 and over, as it contains sporting violence, possible bad language, and flashing imagery.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome. From the four corners of the world, to the four corners of this ring, the fight starts now! How do you like it?
So aggressive, so focused.
welcome you to Fight Night in Orlando, where two undefeated super middleweights, Edgar Berlanga and Northern Irishman Padraig Mccrory, put their perfect records on the line. Can Berlanga get back to his devastating ways that saw him score 16 consecutive first-round knockouts and stay on pace for a potential showdown with Canelo Alvarez? Or will the late-blossoming Northern Irishman spoil the party? That is on the line here in the Sunshine State tonight on DAZN. And with that, we welcome you inside the Caribe Royale Orlando here in Florida, 2 before the bell. We'll have one fight for you on Before the Bell before the main card starts at 7 Eastern on DAZN, which will be highlighted by the 21-0 Edgar Berlanga back in the ring against the 18-0 Padraig Mccrory. We say hello from you ringside. Gabe Rosado, Justin Shackle. Gabe, the boxing public believes that Edgar Berlanga needs to answer a lot of questions with his performance tonight. What do you need to see from the 26-year-old this evening?
You know, what we need to see from Berlanga is go back to the basics and the fundamentals. Establish the jab. Don't go out there trying to get the knockout. Just put your punches together, combinations. Right here, you know, he's a big puncher, but you got to set that up with a jab, and we just want to see him use his IQ.
You know, this fight maybe comes at the most opportune time for both Berlanga and Mccrory, two undefeated fighters at 168 pounds, because there has been a flood of speculation online this week over Canelo Alvarez's next move, what his opponent could look like on May 4th. Bottom line, it's TBD for May 4th. So a good effort and an impressive effort from both men could go a long way, but can Berlanga stand to just win tonight, or does it have to come with some flash?
No, it has to be an impressive, spectacular win. You know, if I'm Berlanga, I'm trying to put the best performance of my career so far, right? So, because you want to get that Canelo fight. Is he on the top of the list on Canelo for the fight? I don't think so, but who knows? Anything can happen. It's boxing.
Speaking of who knows, not a lot of American fans know much about Padraig Mccrory. Like we said, 18-0, 9 knockouts. This is a fighter from Belfast who is recognized by a couple of the sanctioning bodies. He seems to be for real. Why is he a legit threat to Berlanga tonight?
Well, you know, he's an undefeated fighter, so he doesn't know how to lose. He's coming over here confident. He got people from Ireland that came out to support him. He don't want to let them down. So I think, you know, he's here and he's confident that he's going to pull up the upset.
There you see Berlanga at the weigh-in yesterday. Those two coming in under the 168-pound limit. And one fighter's will go by the end of tonight. There's such like a calm confidence and a quiet confidence from Padraig Mccrory this week. Two big punchers likely believed to be standing toe-to-toe right in front of one another in our main event tonight on DAZN. And we'll take a look at what else is coming up in this main card, because there is a potential for a load of 50-50 fights to steal the show. Beginning with our match on Before the Bell, Aaron Aponte, Joseph Fernandez, couple of Floridians doing battle here in Orlando. And then the main card, like we mentioned, 7 Eastern on DAZN, Yankel Rivera, Andy Dominguez, a pair of undefeated flyweights going at it. Antonio Vargas, Jonathan Rodriguez in a WBA bantamweight title eliminator. Both of those fighters on a roll, putting up impressive winning streaks. Shakram Giasov and Pablo Cesar Cano square off in a WBA welterweight title eliminator. And then the co-feature, Andy Cruz back in action, his third pro fight in less than 230 days, going up against tough Mexican Brian Zamaripa. It all leads into the main event on DAZN, like we mentioned, Edgar Berlanga, Padraig Mccrory, but a lot of exciting fights that could steal the night. Take a look at Andy Cruz, Gabe. My gosh, he has impressed in multiple facets over his first two fights. Answered a lot of questions with his second fight, the knockout over Giovanni Strafone on the Haney Pro-Gray undercard in December, and he promised a little bit of a Cuban-Philly fight fusion tonight. What might that look like?
Well, you know, Cuban style is boxing, countering, but you got Bozy, who's a Philadelphia trainer. His son, Boots Ennis, you know, great boxer, great pressure guy. So I expect him to add a little more aggression to Cruz's game. And I think adding that Cuban style to counter punching, but then being aggressive and going for the kill, I think that's what Bozy brings to the table for Cruz.
High expectations for the 2020 Olympic gold medalist Andy Cruz. He is in a fight against a very tough Mexican. We saw Brian Zamaripa in a very close split decision loss against Angel Fierro in September in Tijuana. He got that nasty taste out of his mouth with a victory over Giovanni de Jesus Godinez in his native Mexico. in December, so he is ready to roll against Andy Cruz. We're going to be ready to roll in a few moments. I'll tell you what, Puerto Rico is going to blow the roof off this place. Between Yankel Rivera, you have Jonathan Rodriguez, Antonio Vargas, obviously Edgar Berlanga. It is going to be a Puerto Rican party in Florida tonight. And then next week, DAZN touches down in Puerto Rico. Amanda Serrano back in her native country alongside Jake Paul.
The biggest boxing event to ever take place in Puerto Rico is a massive, historic main event. 12 3-minute rounds.
She's the queen of the island.
The real deal, Amanda Serrano.
There's no backing down.
He is looking to make a statement.
The problem child.
El Gallo de Dorado, Jake Paul.
Should be the biggest event in Puerto Rican boxing history, and it's going to be a night to remember.
Big time fight coming to Puerto Rico next week. And Gabe, I know you're going to be in Puerto Rico for that one. What should we be expecting from those Puerto Rican fans as they welcome home Amanda Serrano?
It's a sold-out event. Amanda Serrano is one of the great champions out of Puerto Rico. And, you know, it's just impressive. 50 fights, 30 knockouts, and it's going to be action-packed.
Serrano and Jake Paul in Puerto Rico next weekend. Then March 8th in Saudi Arabia, AJ Ngannou, William Zepeda, Maxie Hughes going out at March 16th. And then on the 23rd of March, Dalton Smith returns to the ring. Packed lineup as we take you through late March here on DAZN. We're about ready to go for our first bout of the night and our only bout here on Before the Bell. Aaron Aponte, Joseph Fernandez, two Floridians going at it as we get ready to roll and start off this night in Orlando. Without further ado, into the ring we go with David Diamante.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the beautiful Caribe Royale here in Orlando, Florida, USA. We are live on DAZN for a big night of world-class professional boxing. We begin tonight with an 8-round super lightweight contest set to make his ring walk. Please welcome Joseph Yoshi Fernandez.
Well, it is not often that we see two 140-pounders inching close to 6 feet tall, but that's what we will have in this fight with Aponte and Fernandez. Joseph Fernandez, who is on your screen, he's about a 1-inch height advantage over Aponte and is a full 10 years older than Aponte. Fernandez, 32 years of age, St. Petersburg, Florida. He's 17-5-3 with 6 knockouts, and Fernandez is in the best stretch of his 13-year pro career, having won 10 of his last 12, including his last fight in November, an 8-round unanimous decision win over Rondell Hubbard in Tampa.
And now entering the arena, the skilled young Floridian Aaron, the Alien King of Ponte.
22-year-old Aaron Aponte returning to the ring quickly following his 6th-round unanimous decision win over Roberto Almazan on December 8th, which also took place inside the Caribe Royale. And Aponte enters at 8-1-1. But the last 12 months have been full of adversity for the 5-time national amateur champion. He experienced his first pro defeat on the Prograis Zuria card over the summer. He's 2-1-1 over his last 4 fights, despite being matched up with tough opponents from the start of his career. Looking to bounce back properly, Miami native has started to work with trainer Robert Garcia, who, along with Aaron's father, Ranil, will be in the Aponte corner tonight.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, good evening and welcome to the Caribe Royale here in Orlando, Florida, USA. We are live on DAZN for a big night of world-class professional boxing. And it's all being brought to you courtesy of Mr. Eddie Hearn of Matchroom Boxing in association with BoxLab. We're sponsored tonight by Bet Online, Stagefront, Everlast, and the Caribe Royale. All of tonight's bouts are sanctioned under the auspices of the Florida State Athletic Commission. The executive director is Timothy Shipman. Introducing your 3 judges, scoring our first contest from ringside, all from the state of Florida. David DeYoung, Frederick Flutie, and Efrain Lebrun. And at the sound of the bell, your third man in the ring, referee Luis Pabon. And now, ladies and gentlemen, 8 rounds of boxing scheduled in the super lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, he wears the blue with the lime green. He's scaled 140.5 pounds. Professional record, 17 victories, 5 defeats, 3 draws, with 6 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of St. Petersburg, Florida, Joseph Yoshi Fernandez. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner. He wears the black trunks with the gold trim. He scaled 141 pounds. His professional record, 8 victories, only 1 defeat. He has 1 draw with 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Hialeah Gardens, Florida, Aaron, the Alien King Aponte.
Okay, guys, I give you instruction in your corner. Let's have a clean match, okay? Good luck. God bless you.
Set to go between Aponte and Fernandez, and the room hosting a number of fans here early on because these 2 guys, of course, from Florida, as we're underway with our lone bout on before the bell ahead of Berlanga Mccrory tonight. The Alien King, Aaron Aponte, in the black and gold trunks, and Fernandez in the blue, neon green, and black trunks out of St. Petersburg, Florida. Aponte said he is operating with a healthy chip on his shoulder, that he trained 10 times harder for this camp because he feels he needs to prove himself here.
And these guys, they're both tall and long, so it really comes down to who establishes the jab for position.
Does that come down to commanding the ring with the jab?
Absolutely. Definitely want to start off with the jab, set the tone.
Aponte typically starting out strong with his boxing skills in the first round, but then he's been known to be in matches where fights break out and he kind of puts himself in awkward or spotty positions during several of his fights. And I'm anxious to see if some of the fingerprints of Robert Garcia is shown in Aponte's performance tonight.
Yeah, I think we'll see some improvement now that he has Robert Garcia in his corner. You know, Robert Garcia is a technical trainer, puts his punches together very well.
Fernandez, 32 years of age, from the southpaw stance. Aponte is a left-hander, but he fights orthodox. And they meet each other there, throwing punches together. And is stepping through now with the jab to the body. There's been a lot of jabs, Gabe, so far.
Yeah. And, you know, it's different kind of jabs. It's up jabs, it's doubling the jab, tripling the jab. There's a lot of ways you can use the jab to open up your offense. Right now, these are more filling each other out kind of jabs. You know, no one's really committing to the jab, trying to do damage.
I was talking with Robert Garcia yesterday, and he said the first thing he wanted Aaron to do was to learn and move slowly with the rest of his team to get used to that team setting that Robert's built in Riverside. And he said here in the beginning, it's just about working the jab and working angles. A lot more is going to be coming, but again, they've only been working for roughly 2 months together. Good crack there from Aponte as Fernandez holds on here in the first.
Yeah, that was a solid right hand by Aponte. You know, you don't see no body shots yet. Want to see who's going to start committing to the body.
Fernandez has an inch on Aponte, who stands at 5'10". Fernandez at an even 6 feet, so 2 inches. Fernandez thought he was going to be the bigger 140-pounder, but both filling out nicely following the weigh-in. Again, for 8 rounds at 140 pounds. Good 2-punch combo from Aponte at the bell. Robert Garcia in front of Aponte, and again, Reniel Aponte, Aaron's father, also a voice in his corner.
You can see in the corner, Robert's telling him about doubling the jab up top, and he's throwing that feint to the body and coming with a hook up top. You know, Robert Garcia is a great trainer, great technique.
Following that loss on the Prograis Zuria undercard, Aponte spent 2 weeks out west. First at the Garcia Boxing Academy and then a week up in Big Bear. But he has been sparring with the likes of Remo Rataya, Brandon Lee. So he's been getting some valuable rounds of experience, again, in Riverside. And he's trying to take that experience with him here into this fight.
Let's see if Aponte, you know, uses the information that Robert gave him in the corner. One thing I noticed was Robert asked him for a feint to the body and hook up top, which is smart because these guys are both tall. But Fernandez, you know, he stands a bit taller. You know, he doesn't bend down a bit. Right there, Fernandez, he kind of, you know, he doesn't stand up tall. He's more sitting on the shots.
And as he stands up taller, perhaps maybe a step slower with his punches.
Yeah.
Aponte seems like he has a good read when punches are coming in.
And, you know, when you're standing tall like that, you know, your chin's exposed. You're not sucking that chin.
Tomorrow is the 13th anniversary of Joseph Fernandez turning pro. He's only fought 3 10-round matches in his career. As the combo comes in from Aponte, this is just the 4th pro fight Fernandez is in that's scheduled for 8 rounds. He's 4-2 in matches scheduled for 8 rounds or more. Aponte slipping out of the way. Again, this one's scheduled for 8 to start us off on before the bell. Main card coming up at 7 Eastern on DAZN. Stiff jab from Aponte.
It's a nice stiff jab. I like to see him double it up. It'll definitely open up an opportunity to land something big behind it.
Nice. And he's met with a counter right hand from Aponte. Can Aponte open up the combos past 2 punches? As he gets more comfortable here, winds up with an overhand right. May have grazed Fernandez.
You know, I really want to see that feint from Aponte that Robert was at, because I definitely see the opening that it would create.
Fernandez perhaps getting Aponte's attention. A pair of 2-punch combos. These two largely staying in the middle of the ring. That's a good sign, because Aponte has found himself, like we said earlier, in those awkward positions. Mostly they've occurred along the ropes. Good duck and shot to the body from Aponte. Lower on the level, and again he comes back upstairs and rocks Fernandez at the bell. Ali Tara perhaps advising his fighter to cover up a little bit better. As Aponte has landed the impact shots over the first 2 rounds. As we take a look at some of the action thus far between Aponte and Fernandez.
That's a good body shot. It was a kind of head clash right there. Both guys came in and clashed heads. But I like what Aponte did right there. He comes in with the 1-2 and he closes the gap again, stepping in with a jab. Right there, he came up the top. The round was over, but when you see Fernandez walking to the corner, he seemed a bit hurt by that shot.
Start of round 3, scheduled for 8 between Aponte and Fernandez. The Alien King, Aaron Aponte, 8-1-1, 2 knockouts. Fernandez, 17-5-3, 6 KOs to his name.
Okay, stop.
He's been stopped 3 times in his career. Born in Massachusetts, now resides in St. Petersburg.
Aponte's starting to time that left coming from Fernandez, and he's dipping down, and he's either countering to the body with a right hook or coming up with something big up top. It was kind of like the last sequence of the last round, slipping that left shot. And I think he's just timing him right now.
Working good timing there. Fernandez sort of lunging in with some of those shots. And Aponte moving nicely.
Aponte's doing good with the slip and counters, but, you know, put 2-3 together. Instead of trying to counter with just one shot, he'd be more successful if he throws a combination.
Gets tagged with the jab, but then again, moving and ducking out of the way. Fernandez sneaks in a jab underneath.
Good head movement by Aponte.
It's been one of the main focal points so far over the first 2 rounds and change. I think head movement, nice changing of levels as well from Aponte.
And one thing I see that he's learning being with the team of Robert Garcia is he's more poised, more steady, sending shots up smart, not slugging.
Aponte commanding the center of the ring here in this fight with Joseph Fernandez. Trying to make it 2 straight wins here in Orlando. Again, coming off a 6-round unanimous decision win back on December the 8th. Fernandez cracks him with the left. He's met by a counter right from Aponte.
Fernandez created that shot by kind of getting on his toes, bouncing around a bit, changing the look for Aponte.
Final 30 seconds of round number 3. Fernandez starting to put some shots together, but Aponte able to counter. Again, it's those single shots, though, from Aponte. You want to see more combinations and let his hands flow.
Yeah, Fernandez is closing the round good right here because he changed the look. He boxed a little bit in this round.
Fernandez coming alive with just a bait in round number 3. Might have stolen that one. Coming up April 20th in New York, it is Haney versus Garcia live worldwide on DAZN. The Dream and Super Rye going toe-to-toe. The 2 headliners meeting in Brooklyn, April the 20th.
It's a great fight, man. You know, I respect Garcia, man. You know, he can fight whoever he wants and make some good money. But he wants the top dogs, and you know Haney's the top guy. So mad respect to Garcia for choosing that fight.
Both those fighters clashing 6 times as amateurs. They split them 3-3. We'll have Game 7 April 20th. Better round for Fernandez in round 3. Let's see what he can bring in the 4th round as he goes for his 3rd straight win. Fernandez in the blue, black, and green trunks. Aponte in the black and the gold trunks.
Yeah, you know, that last round, Fernandez kind of changed his look. He started the box. He wasn't standing tall. He was moving his head a bit. It was creating better offense for him. So let's see if he sticks to that. That's the you know, key of boxing is just making adjustments. Nice body shot right there by Fernandez.
Near slip from Aponte. And Fernandez seemingly coming through with more accuracy over the last round and a half.
Yeah, you know, he's changing the look. That was a nice up jab he just threw. And Aponte right now has to come with an answer, you know. And I think the answer would be combinations, more than one punch at a time.
Luis Pavon separates the 2 fighters. Fernandez said it earlier this week, if I can adjust round to round, I'm going to be in good shape tonight. It's something that you need to slow down in your head and just simply adjust to what the opponent's telling you.
And Aponte has a good jab, man. Stiff jab, but he has to double it sometimes. Double it or triple it.
Right there, a double jab.
Yeah, but that was more of a trying to close the range and get close. That's not a jab that's trying to score. It's a distance jab. I want to see him step into that jab, double it up. You know, you can hurt your opponent with a jab. Sometimes a jab could be a power shot. Wow. Good hard shots.
2 punches from Fernandez, counter right hand by Aponte.
Okay, stop. I'm here.
You know, one thing about a southpaw, they lead with the liver. I want to see Aponte start throwing left hooks to the body.
Left hand meets the chin of Aponte. And Fernandez, again, finding a mark with the gloves over the last round and here in the fourth. Fernandez looks to be getting more and more comfortable.
Good body shot by Fernandez. Oh, he's landing that right hook to the body of Aponte.
Two to body.
Aponte seemingly stalling a bit until these final seconds here in the fourth. Lands a close range right hook, but Fernandez fighting back. Second solid round in a row for Joseph Fernandez.
For sure. Yeah, he closed that round pretty good as well.
But don't back looking for just one punch. I want you to look for 2 or 3 punch combinations, right? Sometimes even 4, okay? Not just one hard punch, okay? Let's not just look for one home run.
You wonder what type of adjustments Robert Garcia is preaching to Aaron Aponte as we take a look at some of the action.
But let's pick up your combinations.
See, Aponte did low right there,
and then throw 2 punches.
Fernandez found the opening to throw that right hook to the body. Right here, Aponte's, trying to get some shots in as they're in the clinch. But it was a round in where I felt that Fernandez boxed well and threw some good body shots. Right here, Aponte's trying to apply pressure, close the distance. He was a little off balance right there.
Start of round number 5, scheduled for 8 between Aponte and Fernandez. Aaron Aponte trying to get a win over his most experienced and accomplished opponent to date. 10-year age gap between these two. And Aponte trying to reestablish the jab in the 5th.
Yeah, that 10-year gap, you could definitely see the experience by Fernandez making adjustments and just kind of switching up his style. And this is a good fight for Aponte. This is the fight you learn. You're fighting a vet, so you're seeing different looks. You see right there, he's pushing those shots, and it's one shot at a time. You want to find your distance with a jab, and then you want to throw combinations. You don't want to force these shots.
Still not much behind the jab of Aponte. Fernandez landing a left to the body moments ago. Good counter right, checking the chin of Aponte. Fernandez with more accuracy over the last 3 rounds.
Yeah, Fernandez is kind of finding his groove right now, and you can see it in his body language.
2-punch combo from Fernandez.
Nice jab. See, Aponte still hasn't done what I saw that Garcia was asking of him, which is throw the feint to the body and come up top with a hook. You got to do different things now. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect a better outcome. It's not going to happen.
Much higher work rate from Fernandez here in the 5th, but now he finds himself on the ropes, and Aponte trying to get some close-range shots in on the clinch. Last minute of round number 5. Either fighter offering more than 2-punch combinations, but again, Fernandez finding the mark.
Yeah, and I think Aponte felt that shot too. I think it buckled him a bit.
Aponte covering up. Fernandez continuing to utilize the right hand. He's found a target, especially to the body with the right.
You know, what's working for Fernandez is he's throwing different shots, and he's throwing punches from different angles. You know, he's throwing the up jab, hook. He's throwing the hook to the body. You know, there's a you know, it's a combination of a couple things where Aponte's kind of doing the same thing over and over. He's being repetitive.
Aponte with the block. Final 10 seconds of the fifth. Connecting with the left hand. Fernandez answers back. And the three-punch combo. Ending with that right hand. Fernandez seemingly taking more and more control of this fight through 5. We are in the theme park capital of the world, Orlando, Florida. Berlanga, Mccrory coming up later tonight from the Caribe Royale, Orlando. Action on the main card beginning at 7 Eastern on DAZN. You been to any of the theme parks while you're down here?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You a roller coaster guy?
Finish every ride too. Not like before. Like, I'm not hopping on a ride 2 times in a row.
No.
I can't do that no more.
One and done?
Yeah,
You're off
man.
that?
One and done. I'm good.
Joseph Fernandez trying to pick off Aponte and record his biggest win to date. This is a guy who maintains a full-time job as a hurricane window installer on the Gulf Coast of Florida and a full-time training schedule. He's ended the last 3 rounds pretty strong as Aponte comes up with more action here in round 6. And Aponte trying to change the level of his jabs. A good cover up, wearing those earmuffs.
And one thing, you know, Aponte's dipping a bit too low, so he's taking away the opportunity of a big counter. You know, by the time he's trying to count, see right there, he dipped too low, so Fernandez is able to just step out. You know, boxing is inches and seconds. You just really have to dip just 2-3 inches to get away from a shot and counter.
You're creating a position where you're slower with that counter punch.
Absolutely.
Fernandez closing in, not able to connect with that right hand there. And they come together.
And Aponte right there, he had good distance, he had the range, but then he smothered himself and he got too close when Fernandez got to that corner.
Aponte punching with Fernandez, lands the right.
Fernandez throws that like sneaky right hook to the body because he kind of throws it like chopping down. It's a weird angle that he throws it from, but it's effective.
Now Fernandez picking up a little steam here in round 6. And 8 rounds.
You know, Fernandez is just more elusive. You know, he's more smooth with his shots and he's more in the rhythm, where Aponte's kind of like pushing his shots. He's trying really too hard.
Best action of the fight happening here in round number 6.
Aponte just has to settle down, get back to that jab, start throwing combinations to the body. Slow your man down. He's 10 years older, you got to go to that body. See, those big looping shots are not going to work at this point. Fernandez already caught that rhythm, and he's timing them. He knows how to get away.
And again, in an 8-round fight, the last several rounds seemingly, and perhaps in the eyes of the judges, going Fernandez's way. Aponte, like you mentioned, sort of staying in neutral. He's going to have to think of some other ways to adjust over the final 2 rounds as we approach the final 10 here in the 6th.
Fernandez is in good shape, man. He's in a groove. Aponte looks like he's kind of fading a bit.
The 32-year-old from St. Petersburg, perhaps getting sharper as we roll through this 8-round affair to open up the night for Berlanga Mccrory.
Not to bang. Push the face. Move. Speed.
Right here, that's a good 1-2, go to the body, come up top. Good combinations, just nice and smooth. The Ponte's trying to close the gap, but it's just one jab rather than doubling up to close that distance. And that was good head movement right there by Fernandez. Good offense and good defense. Good combinations right here as he's ripping with the body.
All right, you got to put punches together, all right? All right, let's go. 2 rounds to go. Let's finish strong. Let's finish good finish. Last 2 rounds, okay?
Robert Garcia perhaps urging Aponte to increase his sense of urgency over these final 2 rounds as we get ready to go for round number 7.
Yeah, Robert Garcia telling him you have to throw combinations. Just can't do one shot at a time. You got to put those shots together.
And again, from Aponte to start off this 7th round, one and done jabs. There's a double jab from Aponte. And comes back, counter right hand. Fernandez able to dip out of the way.
You know, Aponte is fighting tight. Sometimes you just kind of shake it off. Shake it off. Get into that groove. And just start throwing that jab. Throw that jab right here in the middle, in this sequence right here. Just throw the jab, throw something. The jab will get you in the rhythm. Nice body shot right there by Aponte. The short right uppercut to the gut.
Came around with the left hand upstairs moments ago. But by and large, Aponte with some quality boxing to open up this 8-rounder. The first 2 rounds looking in control, but Fernandez seizing the momentum in the middle to late portions of this fight. Counter right hand from Aponte. And some blood now over the left eye of Joseph Fernandez. Maybe the best punch of the night from Aaron Aponte. Counter right hand.
And Aponte needs to take advantage that Fernandez has a cut and just, put that cut, start hitting that eye.
Could that cut and those last 2 quality right hands from Aponte start to slow Fernandez down? Fernandez with his mouth open. Again, limited experience in fights past 6 rounds. How can the older fighter withstand here some of the pressure that Aponte may give, but he's applying the pressure of his own here in the 7th round.
That was some good body work right there by Fernandez, man. He threw about 3 hard body shots, right and left hook. And this is what Aponte has to do. He has his back on the rope, push him right back to the rope with those combinations. Right here, double that jab, push him, force him to the ropes. But he backs up.
Aponte at moments in this 7th round looking sharp, but Fernandez able to slow him down, perhaps seize more momentum. Close round to score as we head into the 8th.
That was a much better round for Aponte. He let his hands go, and I'm not sure if that cut was from a headbutt or a punch.
We may see it in a moment on the replay, but there it is. Slight gash right next to the left eyebrow of Joseph Fernandez. We take a look.
So right there, he's already cut. So the cut happened after that or before that.
There it is. The headbutt.
Was it a headbutt?
It was a headbutt.
Okay.
Yep. So a headbutt creating that gash over the eye of Joseph Fernandez as we get ready to go for the 8th and final round on our lone bout on Before the Bell. Aponte and Fernandez. Aaron Aponte in the black and gold trunks, Fernandez in the blue and green trunks, trying to pick up his 18th win against his biggest opponent to date. He's utilized the right hand in a multitude of directions tonight. And he'll try and do the same to cap off this scheduled 8-rounder.
I like that right hook to the body to Fernandez. He's been landing that shot all day.
Solid lunging left hand from Aponte.
You see that? Standing right there and waiting for Fernandez to do something. You got to be first. You got to create the offense. Double the jab and create the offense. See right there, he has a bad habit of dipping too low. Nice hook right there by Aponte, but you know, it's one punch to a combination that Fernandez
just
threw.
It followed about 10 punches from Fernandez.
Yeah.
Right uppercut to the body from Aponte. But it's Fernandez, again, controlling the middle of the ring with the jab, and that's something that we pointed out early was going to be a key focal point.
Okay, stop.
You know, earlier in the first 2 rounds or so, it looked like Aponte was able to control the middle of the ring, but slowly and gradually Fernandez roping back some of that momentum in the middle of the ring and putting Aponte in precarious situations.
You know, the round is tight. You know, it's up for grabs. Both of the guys are working, letting their hands go.
Fernandez coming back with rights and lefts upstairs. And out of the clinch, good shot from Aponte.
You know, even with a cut, Fernandez is willing to just sit in the pocket and let his hands go. You know, he's doing everything he can to win this fight. Nice roll and counter by Fernandez.
Final 40 seconds of this opening bout. 2 Floridians going at it to kick off the night for Berlanga Mccrory.
That was a nice left uppercut.
Coming from
right uppercut.
Underneath.
Yeah.
From Fernandez.
And you know, he's thinking in there. You know, he's thinking. He's boxing a smart fight. That was a nice check hook right there by Fernandez.
Right hand lands from the St. Petersburg native.
You know, the movement that Fernandez created it gave Aponte problems.
Now both fighters letting the hands go as the bell rings to close the show here on Before the Bell. And Joseph Fernandez, pretty confident in his performance. I think he has a lot of reasons to be confident, Gabe.
Yeah.
Final 2 rounds, the closest rounds. It'll be interesting to see how the judges looked at those 2, but for the middle of this fight, Fernandez looked really solid, and you were just waiting for that sense of urgency to come from Aponte. Never really stepped on the gas, but the judges may be seeing something different.
Yeah, Aponte, he was trying, but the problem was he was too tight. You know, sometimes when you're trying, you want to throw a big shot, but it's hard, especially when you got a guy like Fernandez that he was being elusive, he was jabbing, he was moving around, throwing punches from different angles. So when a guy's giving you that look, it's hard to land that big one shot.
Lots of big-time action coming your way on DAZN. Perhaps the biggest and interesting clash in the Middle East. Friday, March the 8th. Huge night in Saudi Arabia as 2-time world champ Anthony Joshua takes on former UFC heavyweight champ Francis Ngannou. Live on DAZN. Well, Robert Garcia saying earlier this week he feels they're going to start to see the results maybe 3, 4, 5 months down the road. They had about 6 weeks to work together. We'll see if Aponte comes away victorious. This could be a close one for our scheduled 8-rounder. We're going to make it official in the ring with David Diamante.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 8 rounds of action here in Orlando, we go to the judges' score totals. Efrain Lebron and Frederick Flutie both scored the bout 78-74. David DeYoung 77-75. All 3 for your winner by unanimous decision from St. Petersburg, Florida, Joseph Yoshi Perez. Fernandez.
So Joseph Fernandez comes away with the unanimous decision win. He picks up perhaps his most notable win of his 13-year pro career and improves to 18-5-3. And again, a father of two, a hard-working window installer from St. Petersburg, grinding, balancing the full-time job and a full-time boxing training schedule, coming away very satisfying, had a good game plan, seemed like he stuck with it and adjusted well.
Absolutely, and he deserved the win. You know, he's the one that made the adjustments and gave Aponte a different look, and well-deserved win for Fernandez.
Going to take a look at some highlights as, again, the final judges tallied 78-74 and two scorecards, 77-75. Tough to dispute any of those scorecards.
You know, in these rounds right here, the 1 and the 2, I had Aponte winning the rounds because I didn't feel that Fernandez was moving his head or creating good offense. But then later in the fight, as you see, Fernandez just start throwing combinations, start throwing good body shots, and he really, really executed the game plan.
Fernandez getting the 18th win of his pro career here at Caribe Royale, Orlando. A unanimous decision win over Aaron Aponte, and that'll take us into the main card, beginning at 7 Eastern on DAZN. Yankel Rivera and Andy Dominguez, Puerto Rico and Mexico going at it in the flyweight division. A pair of regional straps on the line there. Rivera trying to improve to 5-0. Antonio Vargas, Jonathan Rodriguez for the WBA title eliminator at 118 pounds. And then another WBA welterweight title eliminator, Shakram Giasov, 14-0. Going to take on the 34-year-old Pablo Cesar Cano, trying to position himself for another world title shot about a decade after his last. Cano going up against Giasov. Andy Cruz and Brian Zamaripa in the co-feature at 135 pounds. And then later tonight, the main event, Edgar Berlanga, Padraig Mccrory. And Gabe, before we sign off here with that main event, quickly, you talked about Berlanga Mccrory, the ring being a boxer's ring tonight. Yeah. What could that mean for the main event?
Well, I just think it's going to benefit Berlanga. You know, I feel he's going to be able to use his feet a lot better. He has quicker feet than Mccrory, so I think it'll help Berlanga. It benefits him.
Berlanga Mccrory coming up the main card next, 7 Eastern on DAZN. For Gabe Rosado, I'm Justin Shackle. Enjoy Berlanga Mccrory.
I visualize myself knocking him out. I'm coming for blood. I know I got the power. I know I got everything it takes to hurt anybody. I'm a one punch away from changing my life. Berlanga's in for a native shock.
It's a real dangerous fight for both.
Yeah, how's your coming? Scale C, February 24th. I'm gonna stop. I know I'm his big fish. Like Berlanga's didn't pass me, and I think it's a big mistake.
2 massive punches. Someone is going to sleep.